everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We're so excited today. We have a special bonus interview for you today. We're talking to Justin Dyck, the director of a new movie coming up on Up Channel this weekend. It is called A Very Country Wedding, and it's a sequel to The Very Country Christmas that came out. What year did that one come out? It was last year. It was 2017, right?
Very Country Christmas, I think, was 2017. Yes.
Yes. Right. Great. And we enjoyed that. So we were excited for this new film. And thank you so much, Justin, for coming on the podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So what we like to do for all of our interviews is we like to give our guests an opportunity to introduce yourself and tell us what inspired you to become a director.
Well, what inspired me? I'm not sure, really. I think I grew up in a small town outside of Toronto. And I don't think I ever really believed that directing was a real job that normal people could get. It always seemed sort of out of reach, but I just sort of always gravitated towards it. Like as soon as I was, 12 years old, I was trying to steal my parents' video camera and just started making things, and that kind of never stopped. So I just kept making things, and they got bigger and they kept getting better, and eventually I started directing.
That's great. Did you go to school or did you just, how did that all happen?
Well, I did go to a school in Toronto called Ryerson, which has an excellent film program. I graduated from their image arts program in new media. So I graduated in 2004. So I was kind of coming up just as everything was switching over to digital and new digital cameras were coming out. So I was kind of a bit of a camera nerd, and started playing with all the cameras in the new, editing online. I was playing with that in high schools. So I just started making my own things, and I did go to school there, but most of it really is self-taught and learned in the trenches on sets.
Yeah, that's great. So how did you end up making your first movie? How were you able to kind of get that first gig?
Well, my first gig as a director, I was working in film basically my whole life. I started, when I was 16, I shot my first wedding video. And then, as I said, I just kept making things. So I learned the camera side, I learned the editing side. And the more stuff I made, the bigger the projects got. And eventually I was working as a director of photography and editor. And I met with the executive producer of A Very Country Wedding, Beth Stevenson. And she was just starting a new company. She's got a lot of experience in the industry, but she was just starting a new company called Brain Power. And she needed a cinematographer for filming little baby animals on green screen, which was an adorable job.
Yeah.
So I went and did that with Brain Power. And then, the more we worked together, the project got better and better. And then the first movie came along, and it was a kid's movie about a little boy who played soccer and ends up meeting and befriending a monkey. So, as everyone says, don't work with kids and animals. So I jumped in with both feet and did both in my very first movie.
Yeah.
And so, that turned out okay. Actually, it's a fun movie still to watch.
Oh, cool. That's really funny. Yeah. Yeah. You start with the monkey movie. That's tricky.
Yes. I don't recommend anyone get a monkey for a pet.
Yeah. That's interesting. And so you really were able to learn quite a bit through doing things like making the wedding videos and some of the other things, like you learned as you went, kind of sounds like.
Yeah. I just I wanted to direct, but no one would do everything else for me. And I didn't understand producing. So when I wanted to, make a project for school, I decided to teach myself camera. And when it came time to edit it, I had to teach myself the editing software. So eventually I've shot a few feature films as a DOP. I've edited lots more, directed a lot of music videos, short films, and things along those lines. So in every project you learn a lot and just keep getting better and better.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. So we've talked to a few directors on the podcast, but how does it all work as far as, because you have the director of photography who / cinematographer who decides how to execute your vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
As a director. And then the editor tries to kind of put it together. But I don't know, how does that teamwork all kind of come into play? And are you as the director, are you the final say as far as all of those pieces?
I'm kind of the final say in the moment, but it's put together by a very large team, and all of our producers and everyone gets lots of input. We're very lucky that I work with a fantastic team run by Brainpower. So the cinematographers, we work with a few, but all of them I've done multiple movies with. Our editors, same thing. We've worked with them so long that everyone sort of understands what to expect and where we're going. So, our cinematographer specifically, they're in charge of the camera department. So our cinematographer will figure out how to light the scene. We'll have lots of conversations beforehand as to what mood we're looking for, whether it's a happy scene, a sad scene, romantic, mysterious, and then we'll light it accordingly. And then me and the cinematographer will work shoulder to shoulder and come up with our shot list for the day, figure out what we need, how to do that efficiently enough to actually get all the pages we need to be shot that day. And then, they'll go off to the editor, and our editors are phenomenal. So they'll put together a rough assembly, which is just really putting things in order. And then I'll go in and sit with them as they work through the edit. And, we have a script supervisor who will keep track of the shots, on the day that we're filming them, and say, oh, take 3 was excellent, but take 1 had the best ending. So those notes will all be passed along to the editor. But if there's little things that I remember from the day we were shooting, then I can pass that information along to the editor. We switch a few shots out, and they go off to producers, and we get notes from various people, and they go off for sound and music, and everyone just does their thing.
That's interesting. Kind of all of these different voices kind of coming together. And it's just amazing to me that they're able to sort of balance all that with the writer and with everything else, that these movies are made so quickly, and yet all that's able to happen in such a short period of time.
Mm-hmm. It's quite the machine that they've built here. And you're right, it can happen very quickly. And I think the quality's up there too. I think they're really fun movies. I'm excited every time I get a new script. Try to throw a little bit of comedy in there along with the romance, and it's they're tons of fun, and everyone does a great job.
Yeah. So I'm curious, what are the particular challenges in making a Christmas TV movie in particular? How do you coordinate all of that snow and all of that kind of stuff? Is that tough?
Well, especially living in Canada, it is tough, yes, because we try to line it up so we're shooting a Christmas movie every December, which is actually quite rare to be able to do that. But you go outside, there's usually snow around here. Everyone's got decorations up, so there's lots of great things to capture there. But oftentimes we're shooting them in July, and today, for instance, it's in the mid-80s here.
Right.
So not a lot of snow options, but we've done lots of different things. Use the rolled out cotton sort of snow blankets. You got this shredded paper stuff that looks okay when you sprinkle it on plants. Then you got to shop vac it all up afterwards. What else do we use for snow? The VFX comes in handy for us as well. Sometimes you do, on a close-up, you sprinkle a little bit of fake snow on the plants, but then afterwards you give it off to our phenomenal special effects departments, and they can put in snow, or we did a skiing movie where they put actually great big mountains in the view of the window, and so there's lots of lying going on.
Yeah. And you bring in actual snow for some scenes. I mean, that must just be just an industry in Canada.
Yeah, we've done actual snow, and luckily hockey's popular here too, so they just pull it off the skating rinks and then come blow it around.
Right.
And we recently did a foam machine, and it was this really great smelling soap bubbles that just disappeared when it rained. They're all biodegradable, and it looked pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's always been very interesting to me. And you gotta have all the garland over every surface.
There's garland everywhere, and if there's ever like an exit sign or a fire alarm, just put a wreath over it so it looks pretty.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. So you had worked with Grayston in the movie with Cindy Busby,
That's right. Yeah.
right? And so was that part of the reason why you kind of thought of him for the for the Very Country Christmas?
Yeah, definitely. He was. Well, he's a great actor. Tons of fun to work with. Everyone loves being on set with him, which is big. And yeah, we just when this script came across, we all got together with the producers, and we just said, this guy sounds like Grayston. He sounds like he's got that sort of more rugged, country look, as opposed to someone a little more clean cut, or
Mm-hmm.
he just he has that presence that I think a country superstar might have, that the walk, the swagger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I liked this one at the Very Country Christmas. It at first I was like, oh, is are they going to go too far with him being, kind of the 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 full of himself kind of
Right.
star or whatever. But I thought that they actually had a pretty nice chemistry, and that it ended up being sweet. And I appreciated that there was actual music, that there was actual songs
Hmm.
in the movie, whereas a lot of these movies, it feels like they just are trying to do as little music, because I'm sure music is a pain, but I appreciate that this had actual singing in it.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. Music can be a real pain. But yeah, Grayston is a phenomenal guitar player, so that helps a lot.
Uh-huh.
And then working with someone like Dina Carter, when she came in, and she was just game for anything.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things to do is to sing actually live in the movie, as opposed to getting it recorded beforehand,
Uh-huh.
having the actors lip sync. But she was just game, so we got we did an extra audio setups that day, plugged the microphone in, and we recorded her just like it was a concert. And she just sang the songs, and every single take was perfect.
So that was all live.
All of Dina's were, yeah. We had to do
Mhm.
voiceover for a few of them, but Dina's singing was all live right into the microphone.
Huh, that's cool. Had she acted before? Did she?
She, if she had, it wasn't a lot. This was her first movie, as far as I know.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think she did pretty good.
She did great. Yeah,
Yeah.
she. It was kind of easy because she was just playing herself, which is the charming music star, and she was just, yeah, so nice to be around and so helpful. Anything we wanted her to do, and she had a genuine excitement on set, which is really nice, because after 12, 16-hour days, everyone can get tired, and actors who've been doing it for a long time, they know that's coming. But she was
Mhm.
just having a great time every day, so
Yeah.
that helped a lot too, I think.
Yeah, and I felt like she had a pretty natural presence on screen, for because some of these singers, when they try and transition to acting, it doesn't always go so great. But I thought she did pretty well.
I thought she did great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So, how did you select B Santos? I'm not
Oh,
sure.
Bea.
Bea, sorry, Bea Santos. How did you end up picking her as the co-lead?
Well, she was just one of many audition tapes, and she is local from Toronto, so the being a relatively small industry here, um, I had lots of friends who had worked with her previously and said how great she was, and so she, yeah, luckily she was sort of handed to me on a short list of, these are the few that we're looking at, and then again, working very closely with our producers, who are phenomenal at casting, and our casting director, of course. We went through the tapes, and she was just the one that stood out.
Yeah, and I like the little girl who played her daughter.
Yes, Raven.
Yeah, she's very. I thought they had a nice chemistry together, I think, as mother daughter.
They really did, yeah. And Raven is she's just hilarious to have around. She was, yeah, very professional, and acts a lot more grown up than she is, and always knew her lines and was always ready to help. And yeah, I thought she was great too, and just adorable.
Hmm. Yeah, so cute. And yeah, is it challenging at all, like getting for such a young actress, like I said, learning lines and doing the scenes and
Yeah,
just,
it can be, but as I said, my first movie was with a kid and a monkey, so everything's been easy since then.
right.
But no, I've done a lot of children's films. Worked on a television series called The Pony Sitters Club, which was all kid leads.
Mm.
So working with kids is something I'm pretty comfortable with. And Raven was just so professional and so good that yeah, that was one of the easier actors.
Yeah, that's cool. That's interesting. And you have to schedule everything very carefully, right? Because you got to.
You do, yeah. The kids have different rules, so they have to
Right.
take time. They have to have tutoring every few hours. They have to get a certain amount of tutoring in throughout the day. They have to have breaks scheduled in. So, yeah, you always try to line it up so that they can be tutoring while the other actors are changing clothes, or they're on their break while the camera's turning around or moving lights. So it can be tricky, but again, the team we work with are so used to working with kids that we've got it
Mhm.
down to a science.
Now, last year you did 6 movies plus, like you said, the Pony Sitters Club.
Yes.
That's amazing. How did you
It,
make so many? That's
it was
incredible.
a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah. Wow.
I all I can say is that this one boils down to the team
Yeah.
that are putting them together because I did 6, but they did I think 11 or 12.
Uh-huh.
The Brain Power did that many, so yeah, it was a lot for me, but it really is. It's a smooth moving machine, and they would get a script ready, they would get it to me, I would start to work probably about you know 2 months before we would roll cameras, and then work with the casting director, and then as we were shooting that movie, I would be in the evenings and weekends I'd be reading the script for the next one,
Oh, wow.
and we
That's
just
amazing.
kept churning them out like that. So
Wow. Yeah, I really enjoyed My Perfect Romance last year. I felt like that was kind of flew under the radar, but had a pretty good cast.
yeah, that one was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah.
That was our first non-Christmas romance, so it was nice to hang hearts on the walls instead of wreaths.
Yeah. Because it had Christopher Russell, who's super dreamy. It had Jodie Sweetin's in it, Lauren
Yeah,
Holly, Morgan Fairchild. I liked the lead, even though I was unfamiliar with her. Kimberly Sue
yeah,
Murray.
Kim Sue Murray. Yeah,
She was good. It had some pretty dreamy sequences. It had a little bit more PG-13, just a little, than
just a little bit. Yeah,
which I enjoyed and I liked that. A little more spicy.
yeah,
And I don't know, I thought that one was fun.
yeah. That one was lots of fun, and like I said, Kim Sue Murray. She's one of those people we happen to find right at the right time because she's off doing a couple other series right now. I don't know what I'm at liberty to say, but she's in a Netflix show coming up, and so she's. I think people are going to start recognizing her very soon. And that was the first time we had worked together. But then I was lucky enough to do another one with her earlier this year.
Yeah. Oh,
So
cool. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah. Are you just like, well, I made 6 movies last year. Now this year, I've got to make 8 movies.
Oh yeah, you
I'm gonna
can't go
update.
backwards. Can't go backwards. Got to keep.
Yeah. That's
No,
great.
I
I
think
love it.
I feel like 6 is probably a pretty good number for one
Yeah.
year.
I think so. I think that's pretty good, pretty impressive. So, yeah. And did you know that we actually just found this out that a sequel to a Christmas movie that's a non-Christmas movie, so a non-Christmas movie sequel to a Christmas movie is
uh,
exceedingly rare, very
oh,
very rare.
I did not know that, but
Yeah.
I feel like we're pioneers, so we did it on
Yes.
purpose. Yeah.
You and Wedding at Graceland, because that's how we realized we started researching, and we figured out that that's the first time that Hallmark has done that, to our knowledge, that they've had, because there's been sequels to Christmas movies that are still Christmas movies,
Yeah.
but so I was like, ooh, just in one season we'll have we'll have a very country wedding
Yeah.
and Wedding at Graceland.
We
So
can. There we go.
Yeah, we're changing the world.
Absolutely. That is what we're doing.
That's really cool. So at first, we tried to talk a little bit about the movie without spoilers too much. But at first I was a little bit scared because I felt like she wasn't being heard as a character, and I didn't want her to be just constantly kind of, okay, we can do it your way, we can do it, and not have what she wanted out of the relationship.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But then I felt like I actually, in the end, I found it kind of refreshing because I felt like here's a woman who knows the relationship she's in. She's not trying to change this person to be anything other than what he is.
Yeah.
And so in the end, it ended up working for me. Was that a tricky kind of dynamic to do when you're writing it?
It was, yeah. I remember we're talking the first movie, of course, right? The Very Country Christmas.
Yeah. Well, so no, this is the new one.
Oh, okay.
Because she, as far as her, I have seen it.
Okay.
So
excellent.
her, as far as like her wedding and kind of what she wants, and she seems to have to put everything on hold.
Yeah.
I don't think that's too big a spoiler to say. And that was my sort of feeling like she's got to still get enough of what she needs out of the relationship, but you also have to kind of know what relationship you're getting into.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I agree. It was a tricky thing to navigate. And I feel like in the end, this ended up being a story about there's so many different plots in this, so many different characters, pursuing their own dreams and their own love in their own way, between a grandmother and granddaughter, or, an ex-couple, all these different pairs. So yeah, in terms of the Jeanette role, it was a bit tricky. We didn't want her to just be the proverbial punching bag and just sit there and put up with all this stuff. And we felt that we tried anyways to make her strong enough that this was just the life that she chose and she wasn't being forced into anything. And, I think his guilt came across, that he didn't want to be doing this either. And that it was really, as opposed to, her versus him, like this is what he wants, this is what she wants. We try to make it, us against the world sort of thing.
Yeah.
That this is what's been handed to them. And sure, they feel differently about it, but in the end, it was really just about each other and tackling those things together.
Yeah, because there were so many moments that I thought could have turned into sort of the cringeworthy moments that I don't really like in some of these TV movies, where, for instance, so many of these TV movies have the scene where the guy and his ex are sort of talking or whatever, and then the lead girl kind of stumbles upon and eavesdrops and hears what they're saying, and instead of just talking to her guy and saying, what were you talking about, she storms off and then never wants to talk to him again. That kind of a scenario. And there were so many moments like that where she could have had that response in the film, but she always seemed to trust him, and he always seemed to be trustworthy. So I appreciated that about, like, it felt like this is a functional couple that I could actually see surviving in a real world situation.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad that came across, because that is something that in some iterations of the script, I think we did have those scenes where it was just, the simple way out was someone gets mad and storms off. But I remember sitting with multiple people around the table and doing read-throughs and just saying, like, would she really say that, or is this picture really enough to set someone off to get angry, or would they just speak logically about it? And we really wanted to do that, which makes drama harder, because there is always a solution if people sit down and talk about it. But I feel like we were able to walk that line and make them, as you said, a more logical, functional couple.
Yeah. Because, I mean, if this kind of couple is going to last, I mean, this is just what she's going to have to deal with.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I like that. Was it fun? There's kind of two wedding sequences kind of in the movie.
Yeah.
Was that fun to sort of plan, I don't know, not just one, but two kind of type of weddings?
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, two fake weddings.
Yeah, as you know, as in the 6 movies we did last year, I think at least 4 of them had a wedding in it.
Uh-huh.
So planning weddings is something we do quite frequently.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice to have 2, completely different types of weddings, and to have, the one that starts off in the normal classy church wedding, and then I guess it would be a spoiler if I gave away the second one, but it's a different kind of wedding with different kinds of a different feel to it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, both of them were very different. So that was fun. Was it fun kind of exploring this other couple with Deanna Carter and her ex, that kind of storyline?
That may have been my favorite storyline in the whole thing, because yeah, Dina, was great, and I really feel like she grew from the last movie to this one too, because we gave her a lot more to do in this one. The first movie, she was just sort of the voice of reason that would come in and give advice, but this time she had, real emotions to go through, and I thought she knocked it out of the park. And then Mike Shara playing Chris, he's a theater actor with a lot of experience, and he was, yeah, we weren't sure who we were going to get for the role of Chris. We kind of found him just at the last minute, but he came in and felt, yeah, I thought he did an amazing job. And it's, yeah, as you said, it's a different kind of love story between those two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cute. I enjoyed it. I think that I she is awfully the beginning of the movie when things go awry. I mean, if something like that happened to me, on the day of my wedding, I think I'd be a little bit more upset than she is. But uh, but it was interesting. I mean, there was a side of me that was just like, just wait and just get married, and then you could have the party and stuff later. But you're so close. Oh my gosh, you're so close. You're there. Just have the minister do it. I don't know, but I guess that maybe that feels like not the way that they dreamed.
It just wasn't right for them, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Yeah, and you had some concert scenes that you had to do with. So how does it go about filming those kinds of scenes?
Well, we referenced a lot of, luckily concert videos are a very popular thing now, so you can log in and watch, whatever super band performing. And so we tried to mimic as much of those as possible because we didn't have the budget for the, 20,000 extras to come out and
Sure.
name. So we found the shots they often used that were close-ups and you wouldn't need a crowd in the background. So we try to mimic those as well as possible. And then with the people we did have, we just cover that and put it all together. As I said, Grayson is a musician. He's a guitar player. So him going out on stage and, working up a crowd that's not actually on set that day.
Right.
felt a bit strange with him, throwing his arms up and the, a few people on the crew giving him some claps. Yeah, it was lots of fun. We were in a wonderful venue. So we had their sound system blaring and the music was nice and loud. So you could feel the energy. It was just kind of empty to the eye, but hopefully the camera caught a big full concert.
That's really interesting. And who ends up writing the music for these movies?
Well, we have some composers, and I think they actually write some of the songs as well. And the writer of this movie, Keith Cooper, is also a very talented musician. So he wrote some of the songs for it as well. I believe he wrote the song that Zane sings to I forget her name. Celeste was the actress, but he sings to the other character.
Mm-hmm. And then did they go into the studio and then do the recordings like a normal sort of sound studio?
They do, yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
That's cool. That must be fun must be intimidating, but also fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't usually have to do a lot there. I don't have much of a musical ear, so I listen to the songs and tell them how great they are, and then all these much more talented people go off and get that ready for me.
That's cool. Well, I am very curious also about your movie, Christmas with a Prince.
Yes.
And it looks like that there's going to be a sequel to that coming up.
We just finished shooting the sequel a couple of weeks ago.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting.
And yeah, so that one was lots of fun. We had to go off to the kingdom of Zanzibar for that one.
Nice. Very good.
Yeah, that was lots of fun. We had everybody back, and it's nice. That's the Very Country Wedding was our first sequel, and it's really great because the first week you're always sort of, you're learning the actors and there's a certain familiarity and shorthand that you have by the end of the shoot. And on these sequels, when you bring all the actors back, it just right out of the gate, it feels like old times. So the very first day, everyone's just right back in it. So yeah, I think what is it called? A Christmas with a Prince Royal Wedding, which is a Christmas sequel.
Right.
I think it's going to be lots of fun.
Yeah, I am excited because I love Charles Shaughnessy so much. When I saw that he was in the original movie, I don't know if he's in the new one, but
he is. Charles was back.
Yes.
And Miranda was back, the villain from the last movie, and she's got a much bigger media role. I know she was a favorite of a lot of people. So it's lots of fun.
Because I'm a huge fan of The Nanny. Absolutely huge fan.
Yes.
So I'm very excited whenever I see him in anything. And that one was based off of a book, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So
and the Very Country Christmas was as well. It was based on
okay.
Country Cinderella, which is a Harlequin novel. And Christmas the Prince, I don't know the name of that book at the moment. But yeah, it was based on a Harlequin book as well, and then the sequel is based off the characters from that book.
Is that at all challenging at all to adapt a book versus an original screenplay? Or
I'm sure it is for the writer.
Yeah.
But I get the script when it's already in excellent shape, and I don't have to go through those headaches.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it hard to know kind of where to go next when you've had you're writing a sequel and you're doing a sequel? Like,
it is. Yeah. We often get together in a group with the producers and writers, and we talk about the original movie and, where could they go? Is it going to be a wedding? Is it going to be a baby? Is there, is there a death in the family, which brings them all together and they have to go and deal with something like that? So yeah, all the options get thrown out. And because it is, the first movies follow the boy meets girl storyline. That is, probably 80% of all movies ever made. And then the sequel, you got, the boy already met the girl. So where do you go from there?
Yeah. Because a lot of times with these rom-coms, the sequels, for some reason, they decide to all become kind of realistic and like, oh, they've got all these problems. And I understand that you have to have conflict. I get that. But sometimes they can be real downers. And so it's kind of like, you can still be romantic. You can still you can still keep that tone, I think.
Yeah.
But it's tough, it seems like.
Yeah. And we, specifically on the Christmas ones, I think we always try to keep them light and happy, and the conflict is there, but it's only, make-believe conflict. Yeah. And I think both these sequels hopefully achieve that as well. We have done a couple other, slightly heavier romantic films based on the Harlequin novels. One deals with post-traumatic stress syndrome. Another one deals with illness. So those movies are out there and available for people who are looking for a little bit of drama on the side. But for these Christmas ones, I think people should just be happy and enjoy some of the silly problems that come across these characters.
I agree. And then Hometown Holiday last year, you got to have Kevin McGarry in that one. And he's so dreamy. So that was fun. Yeah,
Kevin was great. And he turns out he's multi-talented too, because we had singing in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, well, how are we going to do that? And Kevin shows up. He's like, oh, well, apparently I sing like an angel and can play guitar. So he just, recorded those songs, and we're like, all right, well, that was easy.
And Steven Huzar was in that as well. I saw so many last year. They're all.
Yeah.
But but I love him. He's
Steven
great.
is Steven is great. Everything you see in the movie, that's just him in real life. He's never anything but happy and chipper and eager to help. And
Hmm.
he's the guy who'll be, he'll grab a sandbag and run it out for somebody if they need it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That's cool. I liked the sister in the lady who played a lead sister in that movie.
Jennifer, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, she was funny. She was just like, "What's wrong with you? Why are you behaving this way?"
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
was
She was great. And then, they had the baby at the end was actually a friend of mine had just had twins. And we were talking child actor rules, with babies, they're even stricter, obviously, because babies
sure.
can't be hanging out on set all day. So when you have twins, you can bring one baby, and then when that baby goes down for the nap, the next baby comes in. So oddly, I had 3 sets of friends all have twins within a few months of each other. So we
Yeah.
just we found some twins and brought them out, and Jennifer was phenomenal with babies. So
Yeah, because that movie it had a pretty big time span that it covered of this relationship.
it did, yeah. That one started in the summer and ended at Christmas. So that was, I think, one of the
Mhm.
longest time periods for us.
Yeah. And so yeah, that would make it challenging. But I enjoyed that one. I thought it was fun. And I could have gotten even more Kevin McGarry. I was thinking, I need
Yeah, hopefully we can have him back sometime.
yes, that would be good. He's one of the kings of Hallmark right now,
Yes,
so
he is. Yeah.
very good. All right. Well, we like to end our interviews with some silly questions. We call them the Team V questions.
All right.
And so they're just kind of fun. So here we go.
Okay.
What is the best ice cream flavor?
Whatever one's within reach.
Good answer. All right. What is your favorite color?
Green.
Oh, very good. Very on brand for Christmas. Okay. What music are you into right now?
Good question. Last time I was on a drive with somebody, they said that I had the weirdest playlist they'd ever heard, because it will go from, something from the Big Bopper to a current hip hop song back
Uh-huh.
to a nice slow folk music.
So you got a little of
Um,
everything.
a little bit of everything, yeah. So let's see, what's on my playlist right now. I was listening to Bahamas today.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard of it.
Oh, he's
Okay.
a singer songwriter based out of Toronto.
Oh, cool. Good.
Yeah,
And
highly recommend it. It's excellent. Yeah.
that's where you guys are shoot most of these in Toronto?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. We have a big contingent of the in Vancouver, but yeah, then the Toronto is like the second hub, it seems like, of Canada movie making.
Yeah, I think it is.
So
Yep. Yep.
good. Okay. What is your go-to date night food?
Date night food. Um, Probably chicken wings.
Oh, okay.
I've been married long enough that you can eat greasy chicken wings in front of each other now.
There you go. Okay. What is your go-to date night activity?
Definitely watching a movie.
Oh,
Either stay in and watch a movie or go to the theater and watch something new.
yeah, that sounds fun. We always say on this podcast that the key is to making the movie date work is you have the movie and then you go to dinner.
Ah,
Then I mean, it's especially good for like a first date because then
yeah,
you have something to talk about. You
that's a
can
good
talk,
plan.
yeah, you can talk about the movie.
Right. You got this figured out.
Yeah, we're changing the world. It's exciting. Okay, so dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Okay. Beaches or mountains?
Hmm. I don't know. Depends on the mood. Beaches are not much fun in the winter, so can we have seasonal beaches in the summer, mountains in the winter?
That sounds good. Or you can go to some place with a beach in the winter. That's probably the most ideal
Yeah, that's true.
because then you're.
Yeah.
um,
These are hard questions. I don't know.
it's tricky. It's a contest. Okay, so would you rather be in a suit and tie dressed up or in sweats?
I'd probably rather be in sweats, but I'll just put on a suit and tie when the occasion calls for
Yeah,
it.
yeah, good. Maybe on your date night activity.
Maybe, yeah.
That's really good. All right. What is your favorite holiday?
I'm a
To
Christmas
celebrate?
guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Christmas, it's hard to beat Christmas.
Hard to beat Christmas.
Is it less exciting for you because you're sort of dealing with Christmas all year long in these movies?
um, I don't know. It's funny. The first time you're like, this is weird having the Christmas trees up, all around you all day long on set. But now I just sort of, I can just, look at it as know it's a set, and it doesn't really stick in my brain as much as it used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have a 4 and a 6-year-old, so Christmas is a lot of fun around the house. So I think that excitement is back since having kids.
That it is so much better with kids, Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Way better. It's just more sort of like going through the motions, I feel like, when it's just adults.
Yeah,
But yeah, very true.
You got when you're just adults, you're focusing on the traveling and seeing everybody and who do you have to buy for, and when the kids are there, you get to see it through their eyes. It's a little bit more magical.
Yeah, agreed. Well, the last question we usually ask, what's your favorite Hallmark movie? But we could just say, what is your favorite Hallmark-like movie, TV movie? You get the idea. And you can say one of your own.
Yeah, my producers are here looking over my shoulders, so it's all of the Harlequin movies that we make together.
Okay,
Those
good.
are my favorite.
Okay, good. Very good. All right. Well, great. This was really fun. It was such a delight to talk with you.
Oh, you too.
And the movie is premiering this weekend, this Saturday. Is that correct?
July 6th at 7:00, and then it's available on DVD at Walmart and Amazon by August 6th.
Great. So we'll have all that information. Are you on social media at all that you want to share or anything like that?
Barely, not really. No, I haven't posted in a long time. I'll try harder.
Okay. Well, everybody, check out the movie on the 6th. And thanks so much for talking with us. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we'll talk to you all later. Bye. Thanks so much to Justin for coming on the podcast. This was so much fun. And make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all over social media. And if you're listening on iTunes, if you can give us your ratings and reviews, we really appreciate it. And if you're listening on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate that as well. Please consider becoming one of our patrons. We have a lot of fun perks, a lot of fun extra stuff. And it's just, I think it would be definitely worth your time if you're a fan of these films or just films in general. And then we also have our feedback show, which we just love getting your comments, and we have so much fun doing it. Please send us, if you have any questions for Justin or anything that we talked about, please send us your feedback at hallmarkiespodcast.com, and you can leave a voicemail at 801-855-6407. And you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews, all over social media, on iTunes, YouTube. Check all that out. So thanks so much. We'll talk to you all later. Bye. This podcast was brought to you by Hallmarkies for Hallmarkies. For more information about how you can leave your mark on Hallmarkies, visit hallmarkiespodcast.com. Link in the description.